have a small studio based out of Chandigarh. It's called Charge Voids. And like every architect, you have to sort of start with where your journey started. So I'd start with what influenced me the most. And, if I talk about influences, I think Indian architecture always was about tradition, as a prime mover. But, my influence started with what was almost like a complete rejection of that past because, we are practice based out of Chandigarh. And Chandigarh, whether you like it or not, it hits you on the head. It's a completely modernist city with a completely Western aesthetic. And, this is where I lived. I was born. And naturally, my architecture had to be influenced out of this. But as a natural part to what I was doing, I went to work with Doshi sir's studio. And the reinterpretation started of the amalgamation of Western aesthetics and Indian spatial planning. And this is what we do in the practice, after the influence. So the idea always is that, we want to create forms that are bold and clear with sketches that are simple and powerful, like summing up the entire building in a few strokes. So this is about the essence of what we do. I would just give you examples of some of the buildings where we did. The first sketch is only few strokes, and what it results in is something like this. The building, or it's a small office building, it's completely enclosed, but it's extremely open. But if you look at on the side, it's just a simple sketch with 3 strokes, center ellipse and this thing. This one is a residence. Again, simple strokes, simple 5 planes stacked together, designed around a courtyard. But the result is what you see. Again, another residence, simply 4 strokes, 4 lines, service area segregated on one side, public area segregated on the other, and the courtyard in the middle. The result is this. So the idea always is that if you can sum up a building in few strokes, I think you've captured the essence. There is nothing extra. There is nothing that you can subtract from that build form. Moving on to some of the other works, again, few strokes, simple, clear lines. The result is the architecture, the interior space. Then we started moving on to some larger buildings, and again, buildings that are simple. Oh, moving. Oh, yeah, okay. So, yeah. So, this is a building that's almost coming up now. It's got this amazing scale. It's one of the highest buildings in the area. But again, it's a building that's a plan in the elevation, in the section, in all the elevations. It's just a plus. The result is this beautiful form. Again, 10 strokes. The result is a building like this. Again, angularly stacked boxes. Result is a building like this. I think it's about the essence. I don't need to draw extra. I don't need to add. You cannot subtract for sure. This is how the building is looking now, obviously. This is just to give you the essence of what we practice. I will obviously show some projects. This is a project I'm doing in Varanasi. Again, very, very simple angular grid. Obviously, the result is, this is what is coming up. This is one of the sponsors there, Shuko. This is a center that we're doing for them. Again, a school that we are doing. Again, a very, very simple concept. We just started rotating a grid, and this is what we get. Every single room in this school is ventilated on 4 sides. Not 1, not 2, not 3, but all 4 sides. It's like every room opens in all directions because the idea is that the grid is rotated. So it's about the idea. Again, simple concept. There's a building that we are doing. It's 3 simple forms stacked together, 2 triangles and a tower at the back. It's 3 different functions, 3 different forms all together that you see. It's a library on the upper floor, it's a dining hall on the lower floor, and it's a guest house at the back. It's for a university space. So it's like 3 forms clubbed together into one, and this is how the building looks. This was my first sketch of the building. Some of the other interior spaces of this build form. It looks amazing from the inside. I will start explaining some of my projects in detail. This is just to give you a sense of what we do as a practice. I will only talk about 2-3 projects, but again, continuing from where I was. This is a small residence. I always believe that architects start their journey from doing residences. So, you should retain at least some part of that in any presentation that you make. This was a house that I had to do for a multi-generation family of 9 members. 1 generation, 2 generation, 3 generation. I will look forward to the 4th generation maybe soon. So I had to design 7 bedrooms, area for domestic help. The guy was a follower of Osho, and it was a difficult brief, very difficult brief. The site is in Chandigarh. It's actually on the neighboring site. Yeah, okay, so this is Chandigarh. You have all these satellite towns that are coming up. Okay, yeah, this is Panchkula. The site is on one of the main arterial roads actually. So, Indian urban planning disasters are very clearly to be seen here. You have residences on main high arterial roads of the city, which is really bad. But anyway, so this is what we got, a very busy street and a site that's right on the corner of that street. Obviously, I had to do a box because that's what I had for the zoning and the function. But, what we did was we sort of started breaking the box. We did a central courtyard around which we organized the entire plan. And, this is the courtyard and you organize everything around this plan. But what you do is you segregate the public areas and the private areas. This is the private area, the public area. Simple concept, simple idea, double-height volumes, how you start connecting. And the idea is it's got a beautiful tree line and we cut it only on the tree line level. So the house becomes almost like a juxtaposition of all these volumes, but it doesn't look out just to the street like that. So what you get in result is this wonderful diagram where, you start cutting the house to the exterior and you have these internal volumes. And without getting into the detail, it's just sectionally connected spaces, connected at all different levels, goes -1. It's got so many requirements, but you get all these sectional connectivities. So this is the basement, this is the ground floor, this is the first floor, this is the second floor. It's got terrace gardens on the upper floors. It's got a courtyard. It's got a veranda next to the courtyard on each of these floors. Again, there's a veranda next to the courtyard in the basement. But all said and done, all these sections, all these volumetric connections is one thing, but this is the result. This is what you get. The country-old exterior views I was talking about, this is how it opens to the site. So from the inside of the house, you only look at the tree line. You don't look at the road. You just look at these beautiful, fantastic views from here and there. Every single window has been very, very carefully taken care of. You've got a jacuzzi on the outside. It's like putting a jacuzzi here on the main street on a terrace. It could be a disaster, but you do this and then you control the views. It opens onto the inside. This material, the rat trap bond, how we did the texture. This is all inspired by the Osho paintings and everything. But yeah, this is how the house looks. I think that's ultimately the product is what's most important. Some of the images of the project. The veranda next to the courtyard. It's got these amazing living spaces. You just see the greenery. It doesn't feel like a urban house, but yeah, it's beautiful light pouring in everywhere in the house, controlled exterior views. You just see every single space you see the elements of nature. The bedrooms, how they look, the washrooms, beautiful color rooms, how light pours in. You can figure out how it looks during the day. And these are pictures we took at the start, so it's almost become, and it's absolutely cross-ventilated. The guy wanted to sleep outside in summers, and didn't want to use air conditioners. It's almost like a great space, so you don't use air conditioners for like 6 months, maybe for 25 days, 30 days in peak summer, but that's how you make it sustainable, how you make it look beautiful. This is how it looks from the street. It's almost open from the inside, but from the street it's always closed. I thought of talking about this second project here. This is a campus we are doing in your city, Lucknow. I will not talk about how the references happened, but yes, I will talk about what modern university campuses need. Obviously, capex, resources, long-term phasing, low maintenance cost, energy efficiency, high quality built environment is all we were looking at. Traditionally how campuses are being done in India, we wanted to break from that. You always have these ideas where you have this circular facility or you have this hierarchical planning. This traditionally most campuses are done like that. And result is a complete disaster of facilities, I think. What we devised out of this is we thought we'll do a smart campus, but a smart campus does not just mean only technology. It means enhancing a lot of other things in the campus. Really how facility management, basically it's about the student experience. That's the idea, and this is the solution. You do a modern mega block, you have everything in the center. You club it into one very, very large block instead of having multiple hierarchical spaces. But that does not mean it compromises everything. It creates amazing movement. It creates a campus that's all interconnected. This is the site. It's on the Lucknow Road, Lucknow Kanpur Road. It's next to the toll plaza, just about 100 meters from the toll plaza. This is what we had devised. A site plan which is actually, if you see in nature, what happens is the hexagon is the most effective skin or geometric form that you can pack things into. That's how a beehive comes into place. And so that's the beehive actually. It's all a hexagon, and then there are further hexagons, and it's all a hexagonal grid that we created or designed. And I don't want to get into the detail of this, but yeah, so the idea was we wanted to do external vehicular traffic segregation. Entire campus is walkable. You can walk in 5 minutes inside the campus. That was the whole idea. The pedestrian movement from anywhere in the campus to anywhere in the built block, it's like not more than 5 minutes, because 500 meters is what you walk in 500 meters. Just to give you an idea of the scale of the campus. This is the Rashtrapati Bhavan, this is the Chandigarh Secretariat, and this is what we are building. It's really huge. So it's like that one large mega block of about 5 million square feet that we are building. Yeah, but this is what we are building. So the idea is not just an idea. We've already gone into construction. We are doing 2 blocks at the first onset. But yeah, the central block is actually the facility block, and all these blocks that you see around are actually all different streams of education, like management, law, liberal arts. So it's like the facility in the center. The top on the head that you see is the library. This is the library that you see. So it's all to a grid, but it's to an amazing scale where, it's human, but still it works. It'll work. And obviously the reference is to Lucknow, how we sort of evolve the Islamic architecture into a modern grid. So it's a completely modern building. It's a completely, it's a building of the day. It's going to be timeless. It's not going to age out. But the result is, we do this. We don't do a building that's sort of imitates one of the older buildings, but reinterprets what we could do with the screening and how the buildings could come up. These are the central courtyards within each of these blocks. They're going to be amazingly landscaped. It's one of the hexagons is like, the side of each of these hexagons is about 200 feet. So it's a really large block. Each of these hexagonal blocks is about about 5 lakh square feet of space. Yeah, so this is one of the blocks. I don't want to get into the detail how we sort of started devising, but yeah, the idea was we wanted to do a campus that doesn't run for 8 hours a day. It's a smart campus, should run like 12 hours, 16 hours a day. The central volume spaces, how they evolve, how the circulation evolves. Yeah, these are some of the renders that we've done for the interior spaces of the project. So the central renders, we're going to become like completely daylit. You don't need to switch on a light during the day. The interior renders of the educational facilities. The central block, for example, again, it's all the facilities. I don't want to get into the detail of this for the paucity of time, but yeah, the idea is the top is the library, and you have all these beautiful auditoriums, amazing cafeteria spaces, everything in the center. These are the hostel blocks at the back. Again, residential facilities, same geometric pattern, beautiful triangles. Simple geometry, again, if you see the idea, I can sketch the entire idea in like few strokes. It's a simple geometry, but it results in something really beautiful. This is the last project I'll share. It's a hostel that I had done for the same client. This was my first building for them. Again, because it's in Chandigarh on the periphery, I had to do something which is very inspired by what Chandigarh was. But a lot of people were talking about cost. My first brief was we want to do it in 1,500 rupees a square feet. And I thought it's really tough to do an air-cooled hostel with 1,500 rupees a square feet. But yeah, we managed. That was the success of the project, I think. This on the peri-urban side of Chandigarh. This is where the site is located in Landra. It's one of the peri-urban sites. So Chandigarh, like any other city, it's expanding. You're getting these external rings of development that are happening. This is the site. We got this really odd-shaped site in a 25-acre campus. Okay, yeah. Campus was all gated documents. Originally, the first thing that I did was I actually changed the site. They wanted to do it inside the green, and I said, okay, I'll build in the wasteland, not in the green. So we actually shifted the site. Yeah, so the original site, if you see, is one in the blue. I shifted the site to a wasteland parking yard in the red that we did. So the design proposal was again very simple. Simple triangular form. We started cutting the triangle. What we did was we started creating an amorphous ground floor. Just to give you the idea that, public space is a luxury in campuses, and I always believe that that's what makes a campus a campus. I won't get into the detail, but yeah, it's a simple space. The basement is accessible from the outside. We expanded the brief, changed the brief a little, gave them extra public space in the lower floors, and shifted the entrance to the side, created some sunken courts. And I don't want to get into the detail of each and every thing, but it's a simple plan, simple building. But what's most important is not just, what we did with the circulation course, or how the living spaces are organized, or how the facilities are organized, the washrooms are all on the side. But this is what we really created, the last thing, the congregational spaces that we created at each and every floor. It's the living spaces, the balconies, and the congregational spaces. These are simple triangular bridges that we created at alternate levels, rotating and creating sections. And this is what the result of the project was. The outdoor public space, the steps leading to the basement. The sunken courts. This is all, by the way, not a part of the brief. We expanded the brief, created a gym to the outside, created this side entrance to the space. It pours. And this is the heart of the project, actually. This is how the project looks. This is central space. It's got this beautiful, amazing light pouring in from the top. There's some more shots, and I'll leave you with the last video. And it's a simple geometry. It's not something complex that we designed. If you look at it, it's a simple geometry. I want to get into the efficiency and the climate response, but yeah. A very efficient structure if you had to finish it in simple materials, Kota, local grid finish. Corbusier's colors, obviously. It's in Chandigarh. I'll leave you with this video.
I think what you experience in your early stage, in your early life, is something that's so deeply imbibed in your sensibilities that it can never just go away. Being in Chandigarh is like being at the Mecca of one of the masters. I think the deep sense of understanding, how architecture, it has a spiritual root or a spiritual background, that is the philosophy that we are chasing in our design also. So this building is like designing with those bare essential number of elements. It's a simple triangular form with an atrium with crisscrossing bridges. I think that sums up the entire architecture. I think the focus was that duality between simplicity and complexity. Something that you design very, very simply but you experience the complexity when you're inside that space. It suffices that very purpose of intellectual stimulation, discovery, that sense of joy that you get inside that space. Also that contradiction in space where it's very, very tranquil, but the dynamism is when you move through that space and light does its tricks. Light plays its magic when it pierces through those skylights and just moves through that space, making that space dynamic. I got to understand that architecture can intensify emotions. Architecture can make you think. It's a sort of a conceited belief, but yeah, architecture does contribute to who you become.